Hi and welcome to the EventLearning channel. This time it's going to be about the brand new software released today, GrandMA3 version 2.0.0.4 I think it's called. There's a ton of new features in the new GrandMA3 software. In this video I'm going to go through some of the new features. I mean, there's 84 I think pages of release notes, so there's like a gazillion different things that have changed in the software and new features been added and things have been fixed. In this video I'm just going to go through 7-8 of them, and which is something that is easily explainable. Some of the topics are kind of heavy and need a video on its own, but in this video I'm just going to go through some new features and you are gonna love it, I promise you. Make sure you watch the video all the way to the end, because there's a lot of new features in the software, and we'll just go through them step by step, so there might be something that interests you and that can help you in your daily work with GrandMA3. So welcome to the video, and let's just get right into it. The first thing we're going to look at in this video is one of the most requested features for GrandMA3, for the GrandMA3 software, and that is the special dialog. The special dialog is back, and you can now work with shapers and colors, and let's just have a look at how that works. So if we go into a view here, I made a view with a 3D. You can go up here and you can search for special dialog and open it up, and you can see that you have two tabs here, one for color and one for shapers. If you are in the color mode, you can work with the different colors as you've been able to all the time, but you can also go into the shaper dialog here and start working with the shapers. So let's just try to play with it. You can see you have this thing you can push in here, and that is very simple, a very simple way of doing it. You can work with all the different patterns here, and that is really cool. You can reset stuff here, and you can even work with your rotation and your point of view, and your point of view is really interesting. So let's just say you turned your fixture the other way, shining the other way. It would make more sense to you to have this one opposite the one you're working with now. You can simply just flip your point of view, and then it's very easy to adjust. So it's more logical for you when you're working with the shapers how it works. It's not a rotation, it's only the point of view you're rotating to make it more sensible for you where the different blades come in. So let's just reset that one. We can do that here. You have the reset point of view here, reset shaper here, reset blades here. You can do all kinds of funky stuff. So let's say we have our mini faders up here. You can turn it up at full, and you can work with it like this if you want to. You can do it right here, or you can put it on your encoders down here. Same thing. You can only have your blades. You can only have your rotation if you want to, and just rotate the entire thing. And you can once again reset everything down here. You can go back to none here, and we can say link. We want to link something. We want to link everything. So you can see now everything is linked, and we can easily work with that. Let's just take that out again, and we link parallel. So if I put these guys in, you can link parallel like this. Maybe put it even more in and work with it this way. Kind of cool. Let's reset it again. Link could also be mirrored. So if I have this one, it's going to mirror what's happening on the other side. It's really cool working with that. So that's the special dialog on the shapers. You have all kinds of different control stuff going on here. You really have to play with it. I think it's really interesting to see what they have done with the special dialog. You can even go into faders as well and do all kinds of different things here. So there's a lot of options on how you want to work with the special dialog. So download the software, go in and start playing with it. That is feature number 1 in this video, was the special dialog. The view bar on your right side on your screen, that has gone through a lot of changes in version 2.0 from MA Lighting. So let's just have a look at it. You have all these view bars, or all these views over here, and you can now actually go into your settings here, go into your configure display, and you can make it wider. And you can actually look at it like this and see, okay, I now have 2 rows. I can decide if I want it here in my right side, or I can put it all the way up in the top if I want to. So that's the 2 different options you have here. If you expand it one more row, you can see I have these things here. I have assigned a macro, I have assigned an MA trick, I have assigned a quick key, I have assigned a user, and I have assigned an encoder bar. And we'll get back to the encoder bar in a later video here on the EventLearning channel, because that has gone through a massive change also here on GrandMA3 2.0. So let's just continue with our view bar over here. We now have our programmer and all these things over here. I have a clear button here which clears the screen, which we have been using in MA2 and MA3 for quite a while. But one of the new other features of GrandMA3 is if you have an empty view and you click it, it's going to clear the screen, which I think is fantastic. So we can now basically just delete these guys here, and we don't need that anymore. And as you can see, swipeys is now a thing in the view bar as well, which I find really amazing. It's much easier to work with. Once you get used to using swipeys, you can use it almost anywhere in the console and now in the view bar as well. Expanding the view bar can be done on each screen, so it doesn't have to be the same on all screens. So if we move to screen number 2 and we go into our settings here, we have the same configure display here, and I can expand the view bar as well if I want to. Let's just say we have a new addition here. We have our programmer, and if we want to store this view, a new cool feature has popped up in GrandMA3 2.0. This little icon up here, if you tick that one, you will actually store a thumbnail into your view. So if I say OK to this one, it grabs a screenshot and it stores it into the view. And if we go into our show here and we store a new view here, it's going to do the same thing. Swipeys is a thing as well in the views, so we can now go into this fixture view here and we can say store, and it's the same thing. It grabs a thumbnail right away. And if you look over here, if I close this group here or this pool and I search for images, you can actually see they are stored into the images, and you can use them in there, all the thumbnails. So that's another really cool feature of the view bar in GrandMA3. Another cool thing in the view bar is you can now use your 2-finger gesture to move things up and down in the view bar, as well as you can in other parts of the console. So if you go here, you can simply just use your 2-finger gesture, and in this case I'm on the onpc, so I'm just using the left and right click of the mouse and just holding it while I move the view bar up and down. So it gives you a lot more flexibility in the view bar in GrandMA3 2.0. Another highly requested feature of GrandMA3 is the ability to shift columns around in your fixture sheet and all other places here in the GrandMA3 software. You can do it in, I have it written down here, in the sequence sheet, the content sheet, the fixture sheet, the layout editor, the agenda viewer, the RDM device viewer, the timecode editor, and the timecode viewer. So let's just have a look at it here in the sequence sheet. You have all these columns here, and if you press and hold a column, this red bar will appear, and you can simply just move it somewhere and release it, and they now switched places. You can also turn on or off columns if you don't want to use them at all. If you press with 2 fingers here, this small cog icon appears. We do that again here, and we can go into column editing. So if I go into column editing and see, okay, I never use cue parts, I can hide that. I don't use, let's say, release, break, duplicates, tracking distance, sync, and so on. I can simply just hide them. And if I leave column editing, they are now gone. And as I said, you can use that in many different places. If we go into the time code, you can do the same thing. You can press and hold something, and you can swap places. You can go up here again, and you have this small wheel here, and you can do exactly the same thing. So moving columns around and hiding columns is very, very valuable for some people in their programming if they don't want to look at different stuff. But let's just go back to the view we have here. Once again, we can go into the icon here. We can enter the column editor. We can do some hiding here, and we can leave the column editing, and they are now gone. We have these column sets up here, and you can see there's some predefined ones from the MA software, and we can make a new one with whatever we just made, and we can label it to custom, for instance, and we can basically say this is our new custom set, and you can see it's already stored here. So I can go into my first set and I can go into my custom set, and that's going to change. You can store different stuff in here and you can change different stuff in here. So that's a new addition to GrandMA3 2.0. All the columns can be shuffled around, and I think it's very cool, and it's going to solve a lot of problems. It's been a highly requested feature of the GrandMA3 software. Another cool thing about GrandMA3 2.0 is the ability to apply filters to different things. I opened up a fixture sheet here on my computer, and I have my filters down here. And if I only want to look at something and not everything in this one, I can apply a filter, and I can customize the filters any way I want down here in the filter menu, in the filter pool. So if I take this one and I assign it and I press the bar up here, you can see it removes everything but the dimmer values. And then you can simply apply the filter you want. So for instance, here I made a filter with position, color, and dimmer information. I can say assign, press the bar up here, and it removes everything but what's in my filter. And you can use that to maybe filter down whatever you want to look at. Maybe you don't want to look at gobo, maybe you don't want to look at all the different blades in a fixture. You can simply remove it and only look at what you need in this case. So another cool addition to GrandMA3 2.0. Let's stay in the fixture sheet for a second, because we also have another new addition to the fixture sheet. There's a few different ways you can view your content. So if you go up into the MA icon here, you will have this sheet mode here, which is fixture, channel, dimmer plus, and sheet and filtering. If we go into channel, you can see a channel view as we have been able to before. We can go into the sheet filtering, and we can go into dimmer plus, which I find kind of valuable. If you are in the dimmer plus, you will always see the dimmer information plus whatever you select in the feature groups down below. So let's say we are in this one right now, we have dimmer information, but if I go into position, it instantly changes to be dimmer and position. If we go into gobo, it changes to dimmer and gobo information. If we go into color, it sorts out the dimmer information and the color information in the same view. So depending on what you want to look at, you can actually shuffle this around, and that will actually change your view immediately. And if you need to look at something else, you can go up to the MA button up here again and say, okay, I need more space to see this. I can adjust the columns to say I have a column width of 10 instead of 20. That gives you more space to see the tracked information. Really cool. Another addition to GrandMA3 2.0. Another cool but small addition to GrandMA3 is the ability to test your commands if you're using command line macros in your sequences. If you go into our sequence here and you scroll all the way down, you can see I have some commands here, and I want the ability to test them without going the queue. So what I can do now is go up into the MA bar up here, go into mask, and show the command test. And when I do that, you can see there's a small go button here, or arrow, and if you push that one, it's actually going to test the macro without you going the queue. So you can write all these command line stuff here, and you can test them easily without jumping back and forth in your sequence, which I find highly valuable. So another cool addition to GrandMA3 2.0. Who would have thought that audio is now a thing in GrandMA3? But it is. You can now in GrandMA3 2.0 put audio files into your console, and you can play them back through a USB device. Right now, GrandMA3 supports 4 different USB devices, audio cards: the Focusrite Sapphire, the M Audio Air Hub, the Palmer PLI 04, and the Radial USB Pro. So you can actually connect these devices directly to your GrandMA3 console, and GrandMA3 can take audio in and send audio out. I'm just going to show you how you can work with this thing here. You can see here in my view I have opened the sounds pool, and over here I have opened up my USB stick and my music folder, and I downloaded a test sound. Doesn't really matter what it is. So in my GrandMA3 on my USB stick, I go into my library, I go into my media, I go into sounds, and it's empty at the moment. So the only thing I need to do is drag and drop this audio file into my USB stick, and now it is ready to be imported in my sound pool. So if I say edit to my sound 1 and I go into import, I select my USB drive over here and it pops up. It's a WAV file, it pops up right here and I can import it straight into the console. So now I have a test sound 1 here and I can say go and select this one and it starts playing immediately. I can off it again like this. And if you're doing a small theater show and you might need to play back some audio files, GrandMA3 can easily do it for you. And the way you trigger it, you can do that from your command line up here. If we say go sound 1, and you can see another addition here, it kind of puts in green whatever it understands. If it doesn't understand it, it's going to look different. You see this? Then it thinks it's a name. So when it's green like this, it kind of understands what you're trying to do. So I say please, and I can put one down here, off sound 1. And now I can press this button up here and it starts playing right away. And if you have an audio card connected to your console, it's going to play back immediately. You can do some settings on volume and stuff like that in your sound editor, but right now it's I'm just for the demonstration here testing how it works in real life. So go sound 1 works, off sound 1 it turns off again. So that's sound files or audio files out of GrandMA3 in the new software version 2.0. The last thing I'm going to show you in this video is something extremely powerful. It's about macros. It's about macros keeping their reference even though you can move stuff around. If you remember from MA2 and MA3 all the way up till today, if you have a macro and you say go sequence 1, and you by any chance move sequence 1, the macro breaks, it doesn't work anymore. GrandMA3 2.0 fixed that, and let me show you how this works. So we have this sound test we just made before, and we have this go sound 1 up here, and if I press this one you can see it starts running down here, and if I press the off button here it stops. But if I move this one somewhere else and I press the go button, nothing happens. It doesn't know what's happening anymore. So I can move this back and it works again. That's fine. But let's just write the macro in a different way. So if we go up to this one, sound 1, and we write it in a different way, we say go, and we put a hashtag and some square brackets here, and we say sound 1. You can see it turns yellow, because it references the object, the underlying object now. So, and it even knows the name of it. So I say please, and you can see it's yellow up here. And if I move this one, then you should see what happens. If you look at the macro up here, it automatically updates the macro. So even though you move stuff around, your macros will still work. And the same thing is if I relabel it and I say test label, you can see it also updates the macro. So if you are building macro shows and you have to have stuff in order, GrandMA3 fixed that because now the macro keeps the reference no matter what you do. Even you can change the placement of a sequence, or in this case an audio file, or you can change the name, and no matter how you reference it, the macro is still going to work. So that is a fantastic addition to GrandMA3 2.0. So as you can see, there's a gazillion new things happening in GrandMA3. This is only one video from me, and I'm definitely going to look at the other stuff as well. There's new changes in selection grid, there's new changes in encoder bars, there's changes in almost anything, and some of these topics are kind of heavy, so we need to make a video on its own on some of these topics. But if you like this video, make sure to give it a like and make sure you subscribe to the EventLearning channel if you want to have the opportunity of being first and getting a notification every time I upload a new video. So my recommendation to you today is definitely go home, download your GrandMA3 2.0 software, and start playing around with it, because it is amazing with all the changes in the software. So I hope you will do that, and I hope you will have some happy GrandMA3 programming moments at home, and I'll see you in the next video here on the Event Lighting channel. See ya!